for anyone that struggles on the sourcing side, seeing the way Johnny's going to do it tonight, hopefully unearthing some deals, who knows? Or just walking through that kind of that process. It's what I like to see is the mind process of what it is, because we're live 40 minutes for an hour, something like that, and we've all done it. You go through it. We don't have any loaded guns or anything like that, so we all go through it, and you sometimes you don't pick out anything. So don't worry if we don't. Tonight is about the process, for showing you how to set yourself up to be able to put yourself in a position to find good deals.
All right, so I'm going to go back to the sort of basics of sourcing. And I think when you first begin, a lot of people might go on Amazon and they might use some sort of keyword, right? So for example, I don't know what it is. They might search Disney, Lego. The problem with this, and I'm sure most people know, is that you can't really filter down this information. So you search for Disney Lego, that makes no sense, but let's go with it. You can see here there's some sponsored ads. You can see here it's sold by Amazon, sold by Amazon, sold by Amazon. You see 9 FBA sellers, but you can't really see too much data that you can sort of filter down to make sourcing easier. I always think that the best way to source it, just to get started, is to reverse source. So you find the product on Amazon, and then you look for the distributor or shop or store or wholesaler to buy from. I always find that's the easiest way. So if we use some sort of search term like this, it's not too helpful, and it's going to take forever to really filter down. Okay, I don't really want to be on the same listing as Amazon. Maybe it's a private label listing that I don't want to be on, but it's just not the best way. So as most people know, the best way and the best software that is an absolute must for anyone who sells on Amazon is Keeper. And a lot of people who start off, they just think that Keeper is, okay, cool, you're on the listing, and people might think Keeper is just this chart here, right? But actually it's there's more than it, and there's this whole sort of UI web server that you can sort of source, which makes it much more intuitive and a lot easier to find deals. So this is obviously great, and this will, like, if I want to, analyze an individual listing, then I'm going to look at the Keeper chart here. But if I want to say look for stuff with Lego or Disney, what I'm going to do is going to go onto keeper.com. I'm going to go to data, and then I'm going to use one of these categories here. So the good thing about Keeper is that you can search for a product. You can go to product viewer. You can look at the best sellers. So the best sellers in different categories. You can go on the top seller list, and you can see all the top sellers on Amazon. So obviously, if you want to look at someone like Music Magpie, who is the #1 seller on Amazon, you can look at their storefront and you can look at exactly what they're selling, which is brilliant. I might not use Music Magpie as an example because they are an absolute beast, but someone who is at a similar revenue level to you, who sells in a similar category, you're going to want to like stalk them, right, and see what they sell and see what they're missing. We're not going to go through that today because I don't want to really go through other competitors, especially because it's public and this is going to go onto public YouTube. I don't want to really go through too many sellers. Music Magpie, I'm okay with because they're just such a behemoth, and then #1. Hopefully Natalie agrees that Music Magpie can be doxed. Yes, they are.
Absolutely, for sure. They advertise on TV, so yeah, we're good with them.
That'd be fine. Cool. So there's other things such as the category tree. So if you're in a specific category, so I'm in grocery, I'm happy to say that. I would be more focused in the grocery category. But for today's example, we're just going to go to Product Finder. And here you have all these different filtering options. And rather than filtering from here, what I like to do is just first get the next section open. So what I'm going to do is scroll down. I'm going to go to text fields, and because this is a Christmas Q4 session, all I'm going to search is Christmas. As simple as that. So I'm going to search Christmas. I'm going to go find products, and you'll see that in the bottom right, you'll see there's 10,000 listings. Well, way more than 10,000, right? That's not too helpful, right? Because you're going to sit here forever looking for each individual listings, and what you're going to get just from like first look of loading this up is you're going to get stuff like, okay, cool, the brand here is Jolene and the buy box seller is Jolene, and I don't know about you, but I don't want to be on this listing, right? Because it's definitely a private label listing, and this is something that we don't want to see, right? So we want to be able to filter those sorts of listings out. Cool. So what do you need from here? And what can we use to sort of filter down these 10,000 plus? I'm sure it's a lot more, down to say a few hundred. The best way here is obviously we first need to configure our columns. So if you go to the top left here, so if you go to configure columns, we can configure all the column headers right here. And you know what? There's absolutely loads, but I'm just going to go through a few of them that I use. So you click here, go to configure columns, and if you just scroll down, there's just so much stuff, and you can use different ones depending on your strategy, and we'll go through there. So there's even eBay, all sorts. So again, just go through this if you want to, and just sort of look to see how you can find your own unique sourcing strategy. But today we're just going to go through the basics and what I do. So we've already filtered this table down, and this is the entire catalog. If I remove this filter, it will show the entire catalog of Amazon. Cool. So what do we actually want? So we first obviously want the image. You want to see what it looks like. So if I'm going to say get this Lego advent calendar, I want to look what the product looks at, right? Because that's what the customer will be receiving. So when I reverse source this, so if I look for this Lego City advent calendar 2024 on Google, when I go to shop on lego.com, I want to make sure that this matches. You can see this here. You can see the picture. This matches Lego. So obviously the image is number one important because they've got to match. That's what the customer is really buying based off, is usually the image, I'd say, for most products. So we've got that. So the image, super simple. I'm sure that goes without saying. Second one, of course, is the title. Again, so we can sort of filter different things if we wanted to. We're not going to. But also, if we want to click on the button and then reverse source this, and let's just use the Lego example for instance. If I wanted to reverse source this, I have the title there, obviously, so I can then go on Google and look up the price. Cool. So just I just want to add a little tip here. One thing you can use, and one of the other apps that I do recommend, that I've recommended before, is an app called in the Chrome store. It's called Simple Select and Search. So I've been talking about this for years. But what you can do here is you can go to settings and simple, got to always get it mixed up, simple select and search. And what it does is you can preload a URL, right? So customize your search experience by managing your list of search engines here. And then you can add a percentage S to the URL, which can be replaced with the search terms. So what we can do here is this isn't currently in Google Shopping, and you can see there's a link here. And you can see that right here in the title is the keywords, right? So what we can do here is we can take a link like this. I'll be honest, I do already have a Blue Peter moment on this. We can basically go in, search Google Shopping. I can put the search URL like this. So it's the search, the TBM equals shop. So it means it's the shopping page. HL equals EN, that means it's English. And you see at the Q is the query equals the search term, and OQ equals the search term, and then also the S client equals products.cc. Cool. So that means when I'm coming to here, rather than going, it just saves a click basically. Rather than going like this, Lego City, let's go to Google, let's click, let's search it, and then let's go to shopping. Rather than those sort of 3-4 clicks, rather than doing that, I'm just going to, oh, sorry, awkward. I'm going to highlight it, right click, and then search like that. And it's going to get straight to the page. So again, just if you're searching for, 8 hours or doing a full day shift, if your VA is going to Google and going to clicking 3 different links and searching 1,000 products, that time does add up. So a simple shortcut like this really does save a day. And you know what? If you want to do another trick, you can sort of go on google.co.uk. You go on the homepage and you can also search like this, and then do a dot dot, and then a pound sign and 100. So when you search, Google will look for the price. So you'll see in the title, it's going to start looking for the price as well. So you can do a mix depending on what you want. So you can go directly to Google Shopping, or you can go directly to all. Just to add on this as well, what you can do is there's stuff like not Priceline, Price Runner. So maybe here, like if I just go again and do search for a product and go Lego City here, you'll see there's a search result like this. So potentially what you could do, and I don't know if this works, you could be like, you know what, I'm going to set up a new one, and it's going to be Price Runner. I'm going to do like that, and I'm going to put a percentage S, save that as well. So when, again, I don't know if this is going to work. This is, again, me thinking on the thought. I'm going to search Price Runner like that, and you can go straight to the Price Runner link as well. So again, this can just save you times, right? It's just a nice little shortcut, so you can go to the different pages so you can get a quick price. And again, if we're going to source this still, this is $16.99 on Lego, $16.99. No surprise, it's because Amazon retail are on the listing. We want to avoid Amazon retail, which brings on to the next step, which obviously I've lost the page because I've clicked a bunch of buttons, which is classic me getting ahead of myself. Cool. So we've got, before I get to the Amazon part, since sort of 2023, Keeper have added this new thing called bought in the past month. And for me, this is my, I'd say, favorite setting they've added in the last year. And for me, it's really helped with my sourcing, and especially seasonal sourcing. A little bit, controversial, but I would even say sales rank is almost a little redundant now, because the problem with sales rank is you can see here that this product here, and I'm just guessing here, you can see that the sales rank here is free, and you can see the sales rank's free, and you see the sales rank here is free. So you might think this variation, because it's a variation, is rank free, so it must sell well. But in actual fact, it's these variations here and this variations here, which sells really well. So I can quickly, if I was basing this off sales rank, I might buy this variation, thinking it'll work. But because I had the bought in the past month, it's really good. So again, if I just show this listing as an example on Amazon to explain, hopefully I'm sort of, this is, if I'm going too quick, guys, or too slow, let me know. I'm trying to pace myself. You can see on the list.
This is really great stuff.
Cool. So you can see, like, on this variation listings, and of course, again, I think this is private label. Haven't really checked. Maybe
that's
not.
like a really hot TikTok product that comes up in my TikTok all the time. Someone's always trying to sell one of those.
Yeah, I can imagine. But you can see it. Let's just say this is like a Cadbury variation where it has Mars bars, and it's not Mars bars. I don't think that's even Cadbury. Dairy milks and all those sort of things. Let's just imagine it's that, and you want to see what's the top variation. You can see here that this variation here, which is the beige to mick, that sells 400 plus every month. If I click on this one here, you'll see it doesn't show up. However, so you can see this is sold less than 50 a month because it has no bought in the past month. But the sales rank for this is, don't know where it shows it, but yeah, it says it's rank number 3 and 2 in karaoke portal systems, when in actual fact, if you look at the Keeper chart, this is a lie. And that's why you should always use the, and why it's my favorite setting is this bought in the past month, because that shortcuts that thinking. You don't have to go look into the listing anymore. You can just filter by bought in the past month. So that's why, in my opinion, and my thesis is that this sales rank is a little bit redundant, especially the current. The 180 days average might be a little bit better, to be honest, because the bought in past month is obviously the last month. But if you want to go back the last 6 months and look at sort of replenishables, then the 180 days might be worth it. Cool. But yeah, this is my favorite. I love this. I base all my anything I buy now, I base in terms of quantities. I always base off the bought in the past month because it's official data. You can't get more accurate than this unless Amazon are lying to us, which I don't think they. Hopefully, hopefully they're not. Cool. So that's hopefully cleared up the sales rank and the bought in the past month. The other really clear thing is that we don't want to compete against Amazon. I don't know about you guys, but every time it's Black Friday, Prime Day, I'm doing all my shopping on Amazon because electronics or toys or wherever it is are always going to be cheapest sold by Amazon retail on those days because they always want to be the cheapest price, right? It's Amazon's goal. They don't make money from reselling, as far as I'm aware. I think that's a loss maker. But they want to be the cheapest on the platform, so people come to the platform. So Amazon retail are always going to sell as cheap as they can possibly can, right? So that's why you see something like this Lego City Advent Calendar, which has been a really good example. They're selling for $16.99 because they're matching the cheapest price here. And obviously for our business, we want arbitrage. You know, we're looking to buy from Lego for £8 and sell it for $16.99, where Amazon want to sell for the cheapest possible. They're not trying to arbitrage. They're just trying to give the best experience for the customer. And that's not our model. So having said that, I think that's why you always got to avoid Amazon. So what you have here is your Amazon 90 days out of stock. So this will show you how many days out of the last 90 days have been out of stock. So you can see the 100% here. If I go to the keeper chart and see the 3 months, you'll see there's no of the orange on the keeper. But if I go to this, you can see it's all Amazon. So you can see the filter here. That's all Amazon in the orange. So it's been on the listing pretty much the entire 45 days. So I would avoid that. I would definitely avoid that. There's sometimes cases where the buy box might be lower on Amazon, but in most cases, stuff like Lego, definitely avoid them. So we'll go back into the filters after, but I'm just going to go through everything first. The other thing, of course, is ratings. Sometimes you don't want to, selling a listing with a really bad rating because the sell through is not going to be too good eventually, and that's going to kill off a listing eventually. Of course, there's always money to be made on those because you might just buy less. But I like having the ratings and the review count. The other important thing is the buy box. One massive problem with Amazon is buy box suppression. So the example I used before is what Amazon are doing with this advent calendar. Oh, I love this example. Is they have algorithms in the back end where they're checking their competitor's price of $16.99 and then matching it. So their competitive price threshold would be $16.99. So if you're the only person on this listing and you try to list at $19.99, there's a good chance that they will suppress the listing and there will be no buy box. And what does that mean when there's no buy box? It means if you go on a listing and you go to buy, for some reason this is here, this is the buy box. This won't be here. And when this is not here, that means they have to go to other sellers and it's another click for them to buy. And it dramatically kills it will kill a listing eventually. Cool. So yeah, current buy box super important because you want to make sure it's not a suppressed buy box. That's just super important. And people get that wrong because they might look at the lowest FBA price on the listing and be like, oh, this is profitable, and then not realize that there's actually a suppression going on. And hopefully we'll find a better example as we go on with this. Stock as well. You might want to see how much stock's in the listing. I know some people might be like, oh, I'm going to buy all the stock and then go on the listing and then just take over. So like end of line listings, they might be like, oh, cool. Like this listing here, there's 41 left. I know it's end of line. I can buy up all the supply from the distributor and then I can go on this listing and absolutely kill it. So having the stock here, if you're in wholesale and you're in that game of controlling distribution, then this is it's good to have the stock level here. Cool. Brands. This is especially important, especially after the last night. Obviously the two experts talked about it, but I think if you're listing on a listing that is the incorrect brand, I think that's a bit of a risk now. So if you see that it's, for example, a Lego, but the brand name is Johnny's Toy Shop, that's obviously a bit of a violation, and I'm pretty sure that could get you in a bit of trouble nowadays. I think Natalie will have to confirm that, but I would watch for that. So,
Yes, it will, for sure.
yeah. So if it's a Lego title and the brand says Johnny's Toy Shop, you've got to avoid that. So having the brand column is super important, especially these days, so you can check that it's listed under the correct brand. Cool. And then you have the buy box seller. And why the buy box seller is important? Well, you can quickly identify. So again, if I just go back to Amazon, just search Christmas. Oh, that's embarrassing. I can't really very quickly identify who the seller is, right? In a very quick way, right? I mean, I think you can with like Keeper or Bible Pro or SAS, you can see the seller sometimes, but whatever I'm using here, you can't. So on Keeper.com, you can see that this brand is Jylene, and the buy box seller is Jylene. I'm going to avoid that because that's private label. So that's the main reason I use it. Also, my sort of grocery field, I want to see who my competitor who has the buy box because I probably know who they are, and I probably know their sort of tactics and how I can sort of play that listing. And I also know if my competitor is buying it, that probably means I can get it as well. To be honest, because we're all very similar sized. So if X seller has it, that means I can probably source it at a similar price. There's a way of doing it, right? I know it's possible for me to get that deal working. Unless they're actively trying to lose money on that listing to get buy box ownership, but that's for another day. We're going to talk about it another day. Otherwise, be talking for 2 hours on that. Cool. What else do we have? So this is something they've added recently, and this is the buy box win account 365, and this is brilliant, right? Because previously they only had data that went back 180 days. So previously, if you wanted like listings that worked from 6 months ago, you'd use the 180 days average. And that's really as far back as they went. But now what they have here is they have the win account 365 days. So you can see how much the buy box has actually rotated in the last year, which is really helpful, right? Because if you want a lot of buy box rotations for a lot of sellers, because that means that you know that it's a resale friendly brand in most cases, right? If the win account in the last 365 is 1, you don't want to be in that listing and you see the buy box seller as Amazon, like there's no chance that you're going to win the buy box there. No one else has for the last year. It'd be very risky to go on that listing. It just wouldn't make business sense. So here's really cool because you can sort of see, all right, like I'm searching Christmas. It's not quite Christmas yet, but because I have the data from last year, which includes November and December, if I search something that's very Christmassy, like you know, baubles or something like a Christmas star, I can see the amount of rotations that happened last November, December. If that's high, it's probably a resale friendly brand. So I really like having this. Cool. Manufacturer, again, this could be also a way to sort of sometimes find wholesalers. If you have the manufacturer in, you're supposed to put the actual correct manufacturer in a lot of the listings, or if you've actually properly manufactured it. So if you have this, sometimes you can find some really good distributors because you should really put who's distributing it, who's manufacturing it, because you can then obviously then go approach that manufacturer, right? Cool. Buy box is FBA. I don't really care too much about that because that's kind of irrelevant. I'm not going to go too much about it. I don't care too much about that. Then you have the new FBA. So this is the new FBA count. So how many FBA sellers in this listing? Which again is quite important. If you're an FBA only seller, you might not list on a listing that has no FBA because that, for instance, that listing could be like a 5 kilogram bottle or something, and the FBA fulfillment cost, it might be like £6. That might not work for you because with merchant fulfilled, they could probably do it for like £2.50. Just to give an example of what some people who are merchant fulfilled, seller fulfilled prime, they can do next day, up to 20 kg at like £3, 250, £3. So you might want to sort of filter up with this. What else do you have? It's a new off account. Again, this is a really good way to get rid of those private label sellers. So if I want to filter out like this one thing here, which is clearly private label, because over the last 180 days, there's only been one new off account. It's clearly going to be some sort of exclusive distributor or private label. So again, you use this to filter out. So obviously, I haven't really shown this, but you click the 3 lines, go to greater than, less than, in range, and you can filter that how you want. A few more as well. There's like 90 days drop, category. The listed since is also quite helpful. So if you want to see sort of new variation, new products that came on the market in the last few months that you might want to jump on in your sort of specific brand or category, you might filter the listed since like last month and be like, oh, that brand's now listed as this variation and it's building up some traction. Let's jump on it. Another actually really good way of doing listed since is if you want to find a private label product. So I really like this is I might be thinking what private label product works really well in the last 6 months. And what you might do is filter this from 6 months ago till now. And then you're going to filter bought in the past month from high to low. And then you're going to put your keyword of what you're thinking about selling. So then you can see what were the successful launches in in recent times. And then you can just copy that or just sort of put your own touch on it. But in my opinion, that's a really good way to find private label products, which that's not what this sort of workshop's about, but that's how I would approach private label. It's just using listed since and look at the recent launches of what's worked very recently. I think it's a really good way to find products.
That I've just got to jump in there. That is absolutely phenomenal, and that's something we'll be able to use for bundles, or what will be the new bundles, guys. So yeah, that is an awesome.
Yeah. It's actually like I'm going into private label, and that's the way I'm going to do it. Maybe in the Hive, I'll talk about that journey because that's sort of one of my next steps is creating my own sort of grocery products, and I've sort of identified how the successful people have done it in recent times. Cool. What else do we have? So we also have, which is like relevant for obviously getting shipping costs down and stuff like that. You have the weight and you have the dimensions, which again, super helpful if you're shipping, abroad and the fulfillment costs are the transport costs are expensive. You might want to just source stuff here, which is less than 1,000 square meters. And also and not square meters, centimeters squared, and look for the products which are really small, but you can fit loads in a box. So obviously you can use these for that. The other thing you might be able to use it for, if you're like an FBA only seller, you might be like, okay, cool. If I look at the FBA rate card, so this is right here, I can see here. Oh, is that international? That's kind of you. Let me just scroll up a little bit. I had this page open, my bad. So if I just go to the weight, where is it? Here you go, I think. So what you can see here on the weight, and this is where I might be useful, but if you look at the fulfillment costs, hopefully everyone can see my screen here, you can see that the weight, the fulfillment cost dramatically goes up after 1.9 kilograms, 1.9 kilograms. The fee goes from £3.82 to £5.54. So in this range of above 1.9 kilograms, you're going to get eaten alive by seller fulfilled prime, right? You might even get killed here from this range. So we never, a top tip here is we never send stuff that's above 1.4 kilograms to FBA because you're going to get killed here because the seller fulfilled prime guy will be able to list at £2.50 and they're going to be like £1 cheaper, right? So again, that's something that you might consider when you're sourcing is look at the weight, and you might want to use this rate card for whatever country you're in, and then put less than like 1,900 or 1,400. So you'll be, if you're FBA only, you're competitive throughout the market, because otherwise you just get killed by seller fulfilled prime. And that's why you never see FBA on 5 kilograms listings, because they just get killed because it's just so expensive with FBA for heavy stuff now, unfortunately. Cool. So that is the setup that I use. And to be honest, this works for me. There's obviously other little variations you use, and you can find your own unique strategy to find what you want. But the next steps is like how we actually are going to filter this. So the first filter I'm going to do actually, because we are searching Christmas, and I want to know what a lot of variations want. I want a lot of variation in the buy box rotation, right? Because I want to find stuff that worked last Christmas and where the buy box rotated a lot and potentially sold a lot. I just think like you don't want to like reinvent the wheel, right? Well, you can with bundles and stuff like that, but for arbitrage, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Someone else has probably already found that deal, and they might have found that deal 4 years ago, and they've sold it every Q4, and it's done really well. So what I'm going to do is go buy box, win account 365, and I go greater than, and I put 10. All right. And by the way, I haven't really got too many Blue Peter moments here, so it might be very embarrassing, but we'll see. The other thing as well is you can go high to low on the board in the past month. So I can go, okay, call 7,000, 3,000. And if I look on a listing like this, let me just put up the numbers again. Well, let's just go back first. The other filter I'm going to do as well is I'm going to get rid of Amazon. So you can see on these like top listings here that Amazon are pretty, they've got those covered, unfortunately, because of course they're going to be in the top listings, right? Classic Amazon. So I'm going to go greater than or equals 100, just so I get rid of Amazon. So now we've got this, and then also the other thing as well I'm going to do is going to make sure there's, because I think most people are FBA sellers, I'm going to make sure there's 2 or more FBA sellers as well. So with this, hopefully this is cut out the private label. This is cut out the exclusive distribution products. And these are the products that will, the rotation of the buy box be a lot. And usually it means that you can make it work somehow. Cool. So we just quickly look at the first one. We can look at this festive wonderland, and maybe you want to like start, and we'll do this after, and look at stuff that doesn't sell as much, because these are like top listings that everyone's going after. Everyone wants to go after the 1,000+, so they're very competitive, and you have to get the right pricing. So first, let's just look at this listing here. Straight away, you can see there's a strange pattern going on here, where FBA, it seems to be winning the buy box higher, which again, is the advantage of FBA, right? Is that you can get same day delivery. The cutoff time can be like 1 a.m. So you're more likely to win the buy box with FBA because of that service. And you can see the price is spiking up to 390. And why is that price spiking up to 390? Let's have a quick look at that listing. Just pull these other tabs quickly. So just look on this listing quickly. You can see right now the buy box is 299. If you don't use SaaS, then I think no. You go to total fees on SaaS, and you can see that the actual fulfillment cost is £3.16, right? So £2.99. Fulfillment cost is £3.16. Yeah, I mean, you can't beat that listing, right? I'm sure what they're doing here. I don't even know how they're making this work. Natalie, I don't know how they're doing this for £2.99. Because it's 70 by 50. I'm pretty sure that's larger than a large letter. So I don't know how they're doing this for £2.99. That's pretty crazy to me. Maybe someone can answer. Maybe if Paul's still listening, you can tell us what the cheapest sort of fulfillment cost would be, merchant fulfilled for this.
It's very light, but yeah. I mean, I can only assume, because it's a seasonal, they've put it at such a low price to bring it back into stock in order to get it going again. Maybe it's been out of stock. Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see what you can see here. If you go what we can do is we can go back to last Christmas, and we can see there's a similar trend. Actually, the price was a lot higher last year. And then there's one FBM guy at 199. Not sure if they're making money or it's fake, but it seems like the buy box is going up to 479, £4, which it kind of has to be at a £3.16 fulfillment cost. But anyway, like say we wanted to source this product, I would assume that what we'd do as FBA is that we'd use this 390 price. And what that means is that we're making a big loss, apparently. So it doesn't really work. So I've already sourced this before at 0.81. So what you do here to find a deal, again, what we can do is copy and paste it, go onto the search and go Google Shopping. It's going to load a tab, go down, and you can see Tesco Marketplace. If I go to all, I can see some more links as well. I can just scroll here quickly and to see if there's any other wholesale lists. You can see this Grotto Presence, whoever they are. And you can see, I think this is the same. Yeah, it's the same, and they're selling it for, you can buy 25 for 81 pence, which is where I got that price. With Tesco's, I assume that's £7 divided by 8, 0.875. So again, this is where like this still doesn't work, and I don't know how you'd make this work unless the price went back up to that 4.99, and even there it doesn't even work. So, yeah, I don't know. That's one of those things where you're gonna get confused, and maybe people are just making a loss on it. I'm not too sure, but obviously the
That is,
70.
it is merchant fulfilled. So is there a delivery cost?
No, it's free,
Oh,
2.99, and
wow.
70 times 50, which is usually.
Yeah, that's a really high delivery cost. He's crazy. That person's crazy.
Yeah. Maybe someone can answer the way of doing that. But again, this listing we're going to avoid. I'm not going to source that. Great, it sells a lot, but again, those dimensions again is a good reason why here you might want to look elsewhere, even though I think that looks a little bit wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can I just say that's actually a great bundle product? That would be brilliant to put in a bundle. A
yeah.
authorized, legit bundle, by the way, guys.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm going to actually do is, the thing is with these listings, we're going to struggle, right? We might find some, but these are highly competitive. And for the sake of this, I'm just going to put the range in of 50 to 100, which I think is like a really good sweet spot because there's enough sales to get, a good, is a good amount of sales for the UK. In the US, you might be like, oh, only 50 sales, but in the UK, it's brilliant. So we can look at this, and then we can start. We can just start looking for each product, right? And that's really as simple as that. And we can go through a few of these,
That
but this,
squishmallow thing might look quite good. The
yeah,
Nightmare Before Christmas one. That would pique my.
that would pique your interest.
It
So again,
would until I saw that. But so this is a really good example, guys, of identifying a product that's been out, that has, not been popular, that's come back in. The first people that jumped on that have made a killing. They were selling it, we can see here it's like 13 odd quid. You can probably get that for. And some people, very smart people, were selling that at 50 quid.
find that. So yeah, so this month here, it's gone down to. Some people are still selling it 24. The buy box at some point was £25. If I go back to a year, it was very expensive actually, and never really took off. But if I just go to the week, you can see that sometimes it goes to 24.45. So if I just kind of do the maths here, obviously there's like, I'm sure some of these might have some discounts further. So like with complete savings and top cashback. So if I go to complete savings, is complete savings still? Do people still use complete savings?
Yeah. A lot of people
Yeah,
use it for vouchers still and things like that. There's going to be extra discounts if you're someone that can
yeah,
use student discount, if you can use blue light, if you can use stacking of gift cards, and that is definitely going to be something that's going to work. And it's very light, dimension wise. The Squishmallow is very light,
yeah.
but dimension wise. But what I would say, what I would add the extra on in something like this is, for sure, this is definitely something that is about to go into its peak. But then we're not going to get into the argument about whether Nightmare Before Christmas is a Halloween film or a Christmas film. Either way, it's coming into its peak now. So you
Yeah.
can see that from the
Yeah,
sales link.
it's coming to its peak here.
Yeah, it's
But
coming
people,
into peak, and that will stay in peak now until Christmas because it's at a manageable price.
yeah. So you can see here, people have been winning the buy box here at £25, and it's been selling 100 a month, and the top buy box percentage owner has been selling at £25. So I mean, I'm going to be cheeky here, just it's going to be annoying, but £25, I'm going to put here just an example of what they did. And remember as well, there's also 10% off. So if you use something like complete savings, you see there's a 10% off for ferry. So I'm going to put a discount of 10%. And this person, it's not the greatest, but they're making £3.50 on this listing. But again, this is the first. I haven't actually looked at this listing yet, but even at what was it, like 30, 23.50. Something went wrong there.
Yeah, that's a listing. I think that's definitely a listing. And then for sure, the next thing I would do at this stage, I can see straight away, you've got other variations there. You've got Sally, you've got Oogie Boogie. So, you know, those are the other ones that you could potentially have a look at. They might not sell as well as Jack Skellington because he's the main character. But at the end of the day, there could be a couple of good opportunities there as well.
Yeah, no, exactly.
My Disney knowledge kicking in there.
Yeah. But and even at 23.50, and I think you can confidently say that the market is selling at £25. Well, people are buying it, and it's going up pretty crazily. It's gone up to 100. It's not even Christmas yet. You know, you could gamble that this could stick to 23.50, and you might want to accept that 10% margin.
Yeah,
And if you've got a lot of cash, maybe you want to give it a go, right?
it is a gamble. It's one of those. It is a gamble because the seller rank is going up, but at the same time, I'd also be pretty confident that also is the peak of this product as well. So you know, from a seasonal point of view, peak of the product. So I would feel comfortably. It's the sort of product where the 16th of October, the worst case scenario, you would have it till Christmas, like absolute worst case scenario.
Yeah.
It's not going to go out of date or anything like that.
And obviously, like, one thing to think about
and it looks like it's not a dodgy listing. It's on the Squishmallows store, so it looks okay.
Yeah, and if you're not registered, and then your margin goes up to 12.30, and it's £3, it's probably going to sell out. You probably break. It could be a good listing for sure. So that, that's one thing. I've just looked at it now because Natalie said it looked interesting. I didn't look at it before, but that's, again, 10% margin. It's going to sell 100 to 200 a month. For me, like, I would take that all day. In the grocery world, I would take that 10% gross margin FBA and sell that every day, because I could probably still get a net profit from it as well.
Can I just add one more thing? Sorry, Johnny, just hover back over that chart. Now, this for me is no, the one that pops up down at the bottom. So if you hover back over, shut that one down.
Yeah.
And then just hover back over it. That one, right? The one down in the corner. So look at that, guys. So this is something that we will always look for in seasonal products, where you see that big arch on the BSR. And this is absolutely the only thing we will look for on BSR now, because Johnny's right. Monthly sold units kind of makes it redundant, but for a few other things. We track BSR for a few other things. But if you look at something like that, where you really see the seasonality of a product, you can see that it's out for a period of time. So learn to look at that little hover chart, because if I'd have come across this, if anyone had come across this 2 weeks ago, something like that, if you just imagine, I know it's hard to see, before that price drop, before that actual price drop, learn to look for that big dip, the big dip up, and then and if it hasn't come back down again, that could be a real good opportunity to spot a seasonal product and to get it before it hits back, because the first person or first few people back on this listing made an absolute killing. And that's what we love about seasonal products. So when you're looking for this stuff, always hover over that. And if you see that big arch, most people will automatically switch off from it, because they'll think, oh no, it's not selling, so I don't want it. But think seasonal. And that is just a killer kind of hack or tip.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, just moving on to another listing, you can see here, again, this is another example where you can see there's a lot of buy box rotation here, but you can see the brand, the buy box seller, and the manufacturer is all the same. So I'm going to not even look at that. Like, I'm just going to ignore that. I can see there's a listing like this as well. And I immediately think, I don't know what this is. Is that massive? I don't even know. Like, Natalie, you probably know better than me about this sort of listing. But again, let's have a quick look at what it is. Again, I can't even remember. I don't even know what it is. But searches.
Sorry, what is
it? One of these little things.
Oh, no, not interested.
No, we're going to stay away from that, because
yeah, we're going to stay away from that. Absolutely. That looks like an IP patent kind of walking infringement.
Yeah. It seems like this person here potentially is importing from AliExpress.
Yeah,
Obviously,
for
US
sure.
seller. Yeah, so US seller, yeah, they potentially are doing that. Or maybe they even own it. Who knows? But again, that's a lot of buy box rotation. I imagine that buy box rotation is happening because other people are buying from AliExpress. But that's obviously a recipe to for bad things that I would definitely not do. So let's move on from that. First thing that came up, AliExpress, I'm gonna back away as well. Now again, I don't really know what this is either. These this is where categories I'm not too sure. Again, one thing you can do is go to a year, and this is always what I like to do for seasonal things. And again, this is not even a blue pizza moment. What you can see with this product here is that you can see that, okay, cool, it's selling 100, it's selling 50, it's selling 100, it's an all right listing. But the brilliant thing, again, about this monthly sold is you can see this big spike. This Christmas spike here is what you want to look for in seasonal goods right here, trending up and obviously trends down here because it's very seasonal, which is brilliant. You can see it starts to sell 400 a month. And again, I don't even know what this is, whether it's, I don't know. Again,
Oh, they're
could be an
bookmarks. They're
yeah.
bookmarks. Again,
Yeah.
could be another great bundle idea, but isn't it great, guys, that we have this monthly sold data for the past year now? Because obviously
Yes.
when it came out last year, we didn't have it for the previous year, but now we've got it. And I guarantee not many people are using it, not in the way we use it for bundles and the way Johnny uses it for sourcing. And, learn to use it, guys. There is no truer metric representative of a metric than that. I still, I still remember when they brought that out, and you and I, Johnny, were like, "Oh my god, this is a game changer."
It's a game changer. And you can see again from this, and this is again examples of what not to buy. You see Timu and you see Shein coming up. Ignore, ignore. Do not.
Yeah, ignore as the single product.
Tiny seller.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
that for me is something absolutely that you can build around a bundle. A private label bundle. You can build something around that. You can add in, you can make that into a really cool kind of stationery set or something like that. But definitely not a standalone product for me.
yeah, no, absolutely.
You
And then
just
we go
can't.
down.
You can't
Yeah,
compete with the Chinese guys on that.
no, and also yeah, exactly. Also, again, really good examples here of why I set these columns up. You can straight away see here, oh, brilliant brands. I'd quite like to sell this. Cadbury Dairy Milk Advent Calendar, a bundle or two. They look great, and you click on it and be like, okay, that looks like a good listing. I go to a year, sells 100 before. I go back to here again, press year, goes up to 2,000. But again, this is the problem and why Amazon might be cleaning things up. You can see the brand here is Kenny Crafts. And the brand here is Ambience Products. And I'm pretty sure Ambience Products is not the manufacturer or the brand of Lind. So
No, so let me jump in here as well. So just to explain this in a little bit more. So it definitely looks like whoever's created this listing allows people to come and go on this listing.
yeah,
So they seem like they're pretty cool. Doesn't look like there's any massive IP issues. They allow other people to jump on their listing, which is absolutely fine. The issue with something like this now is with the recent bundle update. But not only that, this has been a problem before that anyway. You may well be flagged for misbranded listing. Okay, so
yeah,
this is clearly a misbranded listing. There's no unique items. If there was something unique with it, it would have been a little bit more compliant with what was the old bundle policy. So now it's not only violation of the bundle policy, but it's also at risk of getting removed potentially some point in Q4. So you certainly don't want to be in a position where you invest lots, because these are going to be winners. These are going to be deals, especially that Lint one. But just proceed with caution. What I would say is if you can get in and get out quite quickly, fine, but always now be aware, if that brand does not match, you are at risk of potential violation, and you are at risk of potential violation for deactivation. And if you get deactivated, your issue is going to be your invoice is not going to match the brand. So you will have trouble getting reactivated. So we're very jumpy around here at the moment, guys. We're not being overcautious, and some people might be like yada yada yada, but we are speaking truths here, and we see it happening all the time. So just be very, very cautious of these type of listings.
Yeah, and again, on the surface, this might look, I mean, only ATP, but on the surface, this sells 2,000 a month, and last year completely sold out. Selling at 2,000, and again, you might think this is perfect, but again, as Natalie says, we can't recommend selling these things because it will risk your account, especially with the latest announcements and what's going on as well.
Jonathan, I'll just jump in with a quick question. Actually, Scott said, "Is this uploaded on YouTube?" It will be uploaded, subject to recording, working out, and everything. And Jonathan's just said the misbranded listings isn't it all categories, isn't it? Misbranded listings is different from bundle policy violation. They're two different things, Jonathan. So the misbranded listings is anything and everything. So there is not category specific. The new bundle policy only affects grocery, pet, health, and baby. But again, also, I didn't want to make this about bundles tonight. But that is a US policy. We still do not know whether or not it's going to be coming to the UK, but we are talking like it is because we would rather work on the worst case scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, misbranded can be anything. It doesn't have to be in one of those categories. And also the new bundle policy as well. It's just consumables in that category as well. So there are certain things within all of those categories that are not considered to be consumable products. But again, how the bots will differentiate that, that's anybody's guess.
Yeah. And again, I think this is another one where it could be, not too sure, but we're going to avoid this because it could be the same story as the other
Johnny,
ones as well.
Move away from the £2 products.
Yeah, exactly.
Move away, leave them alone.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I haven't got too many blue Peter moments. It's just me sort of looking through, and this is why it can take time. But hopefully, us talking through will show us the sort of dangers and what to look out for. But again, we've got a listing here which is compliant. So this is again Disney Zero Plush, Tim Burton's A Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's the Squishmallow's dog that we just looked at.
Okay, I don't know how that's happened. I guess it's got Christmas in the name, right?
Yeah, and it's Halloween. It's Halloween, so it's coming up to that. It sells really well. That's a really good product, but I don't think it might be a winner. It might be a winner, that one. But it is 20% off Disney Store at the moment. So yeah, it might be a winner because it's very small, very light.
Yeah. Again, you can see, this is against the monthly sold, which I keep banging on about, but you can see here, it just goes up.
Yeah.
And again, you can see the sellers are falling off. But
wow,
some obviously,
these people do believe it's a Christmas product. I consider it a Halloween film, not a Christmas film.
The data disagrees.
I know the data clearly disagrees with me for sure.
Yeah, but again, similar scenario where you can go. It's obviously going to be from the Disney Store, but we can just use. Let's use Price Runner this time. Actually, we won't because that's not been the best search. Let's go back to Google. And Google, let's see what Google says.
And there's only going to be one place that you're going to be able to source this for. So $8.95, 20% off. That's going to bring it down to, someone do the quick maths, 90p, 630-ish, something like that. Johnny, you can work quicker than me.
So currently it hasn't off, but maybe it did at some point.
No, it's a coupon.
It's a coupon.
Yeah, there'll be a coupon.
Okay.
And again, this is the sort of product, it's only going to get busier.
Yeah, especially now.
Yeah, especially now. It's only going to get busier. So there's a chance the price might go up. But, you can obviously take a look at last year. Yeah, it did. It looked like it went up last year. So whatever it is, there's definitely 20% off that.
So if there's 20% off, take 20% off. 12.15% margin, which again,
it's all right.
I would say for me, if something sells for $100 a month, I'm taking that all day.
Yeah.
I'm taking that all day. So,
but guys, the reason why the profit is in that one is exactly what Johnny's referred to earlier. That is tiny. That is the size of my hand and it weighs nothing. It will have the lowest FBA fee going.
$2.95.
Yeah.
So it's quite cheap. I imagine the dimensions bring it up. The dimensions of the thing that's in might bring it up.
Oh, maybe it's bigger. No, it's a mini beanbag. It's tiny. So there could be. But again, if you go down to the bottom there, Johnny, as well, just picking that out. Go down to the also bought, customer also bought, or frequently bought together. Again, I'm looking at all those now. I know there's 20% off at the Disney store. And I love the fact that this is Disney as well, because at the end of the day, Disney's such a popular, sort of brand. So, we're not giving away secrets here. The idea of this is not to give away secrets as in to give you guys deal. It's to show you the process. But I'm looking at all of those because I know they're going to be popular. That laying down one, it says 35 on it, which indicates to me Disney might be selling that direct. And actually the other ones, probably Jack Skellington at 23. Disney are probably selling that direct themselves. So just if you learn to look for even numbers in things like that, then probably Disney is selling it themselves, because Disney match on their Amazon store. They match their actual Disney store as well. So I wouldn't bother, potentially looking at those.
Yeah. And another tip here is, again, if you do like Disney, I'm using very generic. I'm using Christmas. Obviously, you can just put Disney in here and do this exact same process, right? And look at all the Disney stuff. But we're not going to do that because it's not a Disney sourcing workshop. It's Christmas.
Damn, that's why I came. I thought that's what we were doing.
Natalie's here. Cool. Again, I'm going to avoid these cheap stuff. Granddaughters. I don't know what that is. I'm just curious.
No, that's
what. I don't know what it is.
Custom.
AliExpress, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to look at this Cadbury Christmas stocking selection. The brand name is correct, which you want. We go to all, and you can again see this goes up to 1,000. The keeper chart is super messy. I don't know what's going on here. Was there buy box suppression here? Maybe a little bit okay, so what happened here, just to sort of explain, there was buy box suppression here because someone was trying to list it at £16.
Yeah.
Amazon did not like that. So like, absolutely not. We're going to suppress that listing, and we're going to, those sales will drop, as you see a slight drop in the sales rank there. So then what happened is
they tested it. They brought it back down. They were like testing that.
Buy box went back to here. So you can see new FBM. I don't know what happened. Oh, you can see maybe they sold out here, or the buy box. I don't know what happened in this little section.
No, that's definitely a buy box suppression.
Yeah, for sure. But again, yeah, same process. We're going to go on Cadbury Christmas stocking selection. I'm going to go onto Google. This link thing is just being pain. We look at this, and you can see there's variations here, which is a bit annoying because you can see this. Maybe this is like the new one or something. What we actually want is this one right here.
Yeah.
Just go sort of quickly. So here I'm just going to go back to all and just try and find this all I want for Christmas one. You can see here all I want for Christmas is here, and you can see the size here. For some reason I haven't put the weight. I'd recommend probably putting the weight in the title. Probably a better way of doing it. So I'm just going to search again for the 179 to try and get some better results. Scroll down, you can see Cadbury. Oh god, see it's Cadbury is selling it, but Cadbury is always very expensive on their store.
That's a direct to consumer site of Cadbury. Then you're never going to get anything off there.
Yeah,
well, very rarely. This for me, for sure, this is a wholesale deal. This is the sort of thing that everybody stocked up on in like August.
Yeah, we can see, however, is you can see that this is out of stock, but it was £24 for an 8-pack for 8 of these. So from Home Bargains, it does seem like it was 24 divided by 8, so £3 each. So I'm gonna base this off £3 each. You could potentially speak to your wholesaler and see if you can get it, or wait until notify me and put your email in to make sure that you get notified. And maybe it's been out of stock since last year, but there's no harm in putting your email in. So we're just going to go on the listing, see 100 bought. Again, like I said, it did go up to 1,000, so a very good listing. £6, like you see here. VAT on cost, a 11% margin if you can get it for £6. And yeah, like I said, it's all FBM here, but £14.99 because you can see the FBA price here is £14.99. So yeah, if you can get in now and get 10% margin while it's 100 sold, who knows? But again, this is it could be dodgy here. I'm not going to recommend to go all out on this because it seems like people were trying to sell at £14.99, but the buy box never really went up last year. But this year seems like it's a little bit different. Come from this, it seems like FBA is winning more at £14.99. So if you can get this at like £5-6, it could be worth it, right?
This is an out of stock product, and that's why it's coming up. So I'm just having a look on a couple of wholesalers, and the wholesalers have got the new version.
So this is the old version. Yep. So again,
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So if I go to cadbury.co.uk, I go to shop now. You click shop now, it goes to the new version.
It goes to the new version, yeah. You can get it cheaper elsewhere.
Get cheaper elsewhere. So again, this listing, if you can get the old version, you might have some lying from around from last Christmas. Make sure they're in stock, in date. I guess it works.
There are sellers that are prepared. You know, don't be fooled, guys. Right, we're telling you the official line. The official line is you do not sell that new version on here, but there will be sellers out there that will just buy the new version and just sell it on here, and they won't care. So, you know, never drive yourself mad in thinking, oh my God, it's got to be a version somewhere. You will just get the cheeky chops, you know, kind of crew that will just sell that version and they just don't care. So don't drive yourself mad.
A lot of bundles here. It seems like the perfect thing people are going to bundle with, right? So,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I guess you'll try and get the UPC and see if there's a UPC somewhere. I'd just be curious if there doesn't seem to be any single packs. Someone's created a listing. Oh, yeah.
The single listing will be, I'd imagine, out of stock and is not back in. So what you can do, if you want to find that single listing, then you can go and do a Google image search, type Amazon. You should be able to find the old one. But you need to go on thingy to do that on Google Images. This is a good hack. If you type in Cadbury, whatever it was, Cadbury large stocking chocolate selection, all I want for Christmas or something like that, then if you go onto Google Images and you type in Amazon, you should be able to find last year's one, even though it's out of stock.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Where there's no, I can't find the single on Amazon. And maybe that's what Amazon get annoyed about, that you can't just buy a single of this because it's coming up with all this other.
Unless what there's a couple of reasons. Unless Cadbury's themselves have listed it or Amazon have listed it under their brand on their behalf, you probably won't find the single one because there's no procedure unless Cadbury's is doing it themselves. So the only way, stupidly, to list that single product on its own now, even before the new bundle policy updates, is to list it on its own GTIN EIN barcode under the brand. But of course, Amazon don't allow you to do that unless you've got permission from the brand to do it. And Cadbury do not list themselves.
Yeah.
So they're brand registered, of course, but they don't list themselves on Amazon.
Yeah. So again, it just seems like it's this is an old listing, right, from last year.
I know. I think I bought one of those last year.
Yeah. So yeah, again, similar process. You can see. I don't even know who. Do you know this brand, Natalie?
Nope.
No. I can see a few different people on it again.
That's right. I'd say that's it looks like a private label brand to me, but
I recognize the seller.
Another
one. So yeah, we'll just look at a few more products because otherwise we will be here for the next 5 hours. I will miss my flight tomorrow. Because we could be doing this all day. Because like you said, this is just one keyword, and you could be doing whatever you want.
And it's the most common keyword.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to find, you know, if you dive down a little bit deeper, you're going to find a lot more gold, guys. You know, we don't want to dive too deep on this. Remember, it's to show you the process, so you guys can go ahead and dive down deep, because you dive down too deep on this, we're going to expose a lot of people. We're going to expose a lot of deals and things, and we're not here to do that. We want you guys to take it away, and we want you to learn and play around with it yourself anyway.
Yeah.
So let's do one more.
I've already clicked on the listing, had to click it off because I recognized the brand name straight away. So
yeah, absolutely.
And this is again a good example of what I was saying again of why you need the current buy box. Because what happened here is there's a suppression, right? And you have a filter I would recommend when you're using keeper.com is just put greater than or equals and then just put like £1, because that gets rid of the suppression. So you can see here.
Sorry, Johnny, I didn't want to interrupt you. So this is the same product as before, but on a second listing.
No variation.
Nope.
There's different no's, right?
I don't think so. It might be a slightly old picture. Oh no, maybe that's the bigger one. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
No, small soft toy. It looks like the beanbag to me.
Have we clicked on it? I think we have, because it's purple. So I think we probably already clicked on it. But this one is suppressed. Yeah.
Yeah, but you could win the buy box back, but it is still making sales, even suppressed.
Yeah. Well, it seems that way, doesn't it? Because this 50 sold. So it's definitely making sales still. And obviously, if we click on this, we can also see that the stop levels are going down. Yeah.
Might be a different product. I'm not sure though. Not that much of a Disney freak that I can tell the difference between the plushies.
Yeah.
Without looking.
But yeah, I mean, again, it's a similar. Let's just look at this last listing, and then we're gonna, get to naturally wrap up. Again, another listing here. Again, you can see it's building traction with the monthly sold of 50. Again, go to a year, and this is why I just love it so much. You can see here the rank is 13,000, and you can see it goes to here, but you can see it was selling over 1,000 a month because it was such a long time from 1,000. This could have got up to close to 2,000 monthly sold. And also you can see the price is pretty consistent and never really goes lower than $9.99. If I go to three months here, you can see it's $9.99, but actually it never seems to go lower than $9.99. Don't know why it's $8.49. I think that's again merchant fulfilled. Someone's being annoying. But again, if you can get this working at $9.99, this could be a brilliant listing.
And that sold really nicely after Christmas as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
I can only imagine it's people that bought it for their cats and their cats loved it, and so they rebought it maybe.
Or the price dropped. Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah. It sold really nicely until February.
Yeah. So selling like 50 a month until. So again, this is quite good because even if you don't sell your stock, it's still selling 50 a month till the end of March. If I go on this, you can see Sainsbury's for 350. I don't know who Electrical World are, but 311. Have you heard of those guys before? I think you can probably get these from wholesalers as well for pretty cheap.
Yeah, you'd be able to get that cheaper from wholesalers for sure.
Yeah. But if we just sort of go by, let's see, 275. I don't even know what maxi deals are. I don't know if you can even trust these guys. So I don't know if these are legitimate. Please do your research. But I imagine this listing, let's just call it £3. I'm going to put 9.99.
Yeah, it's going to be heavy. But, it's quite big. Oh, 130. It's not too bad.
Oh, that's not as good as I thought it'd be. Total fees 360, and again, this is where the fulfillment costs of FBA are going up. If I did this merchant seller fulfill prime, I can do it for 250, and I'm going to be making almost 20% profit margin. And I did a workshop on seller fulfill prime on on Monday if you're a Hive member, which is worth checking out. And I've talked about this before, how I have an advantage here because I could sell next day, compete with FBA. I'll be paying £2.50 from a fulfillment cost. If this went with FBA, it's going to go about for £3.60. So you won't be able to compete with me. So again, this is a listing that will work pretty well for me. And maybe in a couple of weeks, you'll see me on it because clearly that's going to work.
You'll buy a pallet of this and you'll take a pound all day long on this, right?
Yeah, all day. Especially if I go back to last year and see that goes up to 1,000. I'll get a pallet of this all day. And maybe you can get a pallet and you can maybe with FBA, you can get it for 225. I don't know. And maybe you can make it work and get that 10% plus gross margin and make it work. Again, contact whoever and try and get.
It did go up closer to the tenner at Christmas. So again, strategic. This is a strategic play, but if you are starting out, this is not going to be for you. This is if you are more an intermediate to advanced level and you've got a little bit of a gambler in you as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I personally, it's not my category. But if someone said, hey, here's a pallet, you can get it for 225 all day, I'd buy a pallet. I might buy two because it sells at 1,000 a month. Yeah.
And I know people that get brand exclusive on these type of deals. And this is the sort of thing, I'm not saying necessarily this brand, but if you get a good relationship with someone and they're willing to give you a shot and you can show them how much it could potentially sell, if you could create a listing for something like this under the new rules, of course, you wouldn't be able to create like a 2-pack of it because multi-packs don't exist effectively now, with the new rules. And if they come over here, I have to keep saying that. But ultimately, you could bundle that pretty nicely with another Dreamies product, and yeah, which is something somebody's already done. So there is a 2-pack that does exist there already, so that could definitely work. But whether that listing will still be in existence by the end of the year, who knows?
Yeah.
But it looks pretty legit. It looks okay.
Yeah, it's Dreamies store. The last one was Dreamies. It looks really legit to me.
So, guys, if you go on the YouTube channel, and I can't remember what it's called, but I did a video that shows you how to identify this looks legit, but it still might not be because your UPC, sorry, I'm in America, your EAN code might not match. And if the EAN code might not match, you are at risk at removal for a GTIN mismatch.
Yeah.
So you have to match it to the brand.
Yeah. And you can verify this by going GS1 and then.
Okay, you don't need to find the video, guys. It's there.
Find the video, please. You can see this is registered to Mars Pet Care
UK. And then we just need to make an establishment whether or not if they own Dreamies. Yeah. Which it doesn't look like they do. Oh, okay. Go to our brands. Oh, yeah, I've just seen it.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Pet Care.
Yeah, go into that one.
Mars.com. It's
not. I don't think it's Mars, though. I don't think it's Mars. Yeah, scroll down. I think I saw it at the bottom. There it is. Dreamies. Boom. That's enough. So there we go. This is a legit product. It matches the GTIN. And that is a legit product. So I would have no issue listing on that now. Well, unless Amazon decide to remove it at a later stage because it's a multi-pack, which now they're saying they don't want multi-packs. So yeah, but I would take the gamble on that all day long. I don't. That's the thing. Yeah. I know Johnny's like literally on the phone to them already. I really do not believe this is the type of multi-pack that Amazon are targeting or won't remove.
It looks good to me. I think it looks good. And you have this listing as well, which is 1,000. I would say this is my favorite listing we found today, for sure.
I like the other one. I like the Justin. But I think that's it. Right, guys, I think we will call it a night. We've been on for an hour and a half. Hopefully you've enjoyed it.